You are listening to Greg and his friends talk sports. 10 to 20 minutes every day, Greg and his friends are talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. Every day on the Central Indiana Sports Report.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Central Indiana sports fans, and welcome to Greg and his friends talk sports every day on the Central Indiana Sports Report. My friends and I talk about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and this is my new podcast, Greg and his friends talk sports. Coming up, the fourth loss of the year at Mackey Arena for the 8th-ranked Purdue Boilermakers. My friend Jake Dunn will join me to talk about that one. The Pacers lose again, and we look ahead to a busy weekend, including Grant Shouse's preview of the girls' basketball state finals, with his focus, of course, on his alma mater, Oak Hill. We'll take on the Eastern Musketeers for the 2A title for the second time this decade. Grant will be at the end of the podcast after Thursday's recap and Friday's preview. Before we get to all of that, the IndyCar season is underway, and we previewed it on Thursday. It was great. Elijah Poe, Michelle Garman, Heather Apt, and Will Rutherford joined me to make all their predictions for the upcoming season. Later Friday, we'll have a Strictly Biased podcast with Will Rutherford and a fight report with Hanson Crafton, plus a recap of Frankton's regular season finale against Blue River Valley with Michelle Garman. Sunday, we'll have a fever report, and we hope to have a Colts report sometime this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. My friends and I will be back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the day after that. And we're just going to jump right into it with my friend Jake Dunn, our Purdue Guy, 76-74 loss to Michigan State. And Jake, 4 losses at Mackey Arena. I just cannot believe it.
It's pretty disappointing from this senior group. It'd be kind of hard to find a more disappointing regular season year, at least within recent memory. Luckily, they still have the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament that they can try to turn things around, I guess, but not looking too great year for the Boilermakers heading into next year.
I will say this as a positive, because I think they definitely have something in Jack Benter, and also with Jacobson and Meyer. I thought they were all really pretty good tonight.
I think you got some good production from the bench here, and overall the team, stat-wise, didn't necessarily have a terrible game. 49% from the field, 48% from three, shot 67%. They were 6 of 9 from the free throw line, so really not that bad. But they turned the ball over 9 times. They only forced 6 turnovers for Michigan State. So I think that's really kind of where the game was lost. Purdue out-rebounded Michigan State. That's something that we said, in the preview, that this was, needed to be done in order to win for Purdue. They had more assists. They had more blocks, had more offensive rebounds. Purdue seemingly from the stats did just about everything right, but Michigan State's able to come in, and the defense, some of the rotations and scheme doesn't show up here on the box score, but Michigan State came in here and won in a place they hadn't won in 12 years.
A lot of it looks like the defense is fine and teams are making good shots, but at a certain point, you just got to say it is what it is. They're not very good defensively.
I know the metrics for KenPom and things like that still have Purdue fairly high in the top 20 or top 25 in the nation in defense, and at times the defense does look really good, but it just can't stay consistent. And you get teams like Michigan State, who admittedly we did think they were a little overrated. They showed us, Greg, but
yes, they did. They look good.
Yeah, they did. So I was really impressed with the game that Carson Cooper had. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6 of 9 from the field, perfect from the charity stripe. Had an assist and a steal and a block. So played pretty well. He got just about anything he wanted against this Purdue front court.
Hey Jake, I got a secret for you. Tom Izzo's a good coach.
Yes, he is. I was surprised to see in the pregame they showed the head-to-head record between the two. This was either the 39th or the 40th matchup. I think 39th. And Matt Painter was like 18 and 17 against Tom Izzo in his career. So I thought that was a pretty interesting match. So they're now even against each other, 18 and 18.
Wow. I did not know that stat. Here's a stat I know, Jake, and it blows my mind. Purdue is unbeaten on the road against ranked teams. They're unbeaten on neutral sites against ranked teams. And winless at home against ranked teams. Insane.
I literally don't even know how to even begin to explain that. I don't know if the team just gets too comfortable at home and they're used to winning so much at home that they're kind of relax a little bit, in Mackey, or I don't know what the deal is, but we talked about this game, talked about Michigan game, talked about the Illinois game. Those were three really big games that you got to break in the schedule if those all being at home and you not having to go away to any of those places. And turns out that I guess it didn't even matter. I guess you could have went to all these places and maybe won there. Yeah, I don't know. Luckily most teams in March will be good or ranked or close to ranked. So maybe they can continue that streak in March, hopefully.
Jake, I wish we'd spent our time talking about Braden Smith becoming the 5th player ever with 1,000 assists, and that the rest of the schedule is easy, so they're going to cruise to the 2 seed in the Big Ten. But unfortunately, the confidence-o-meter is pretty low. Yeah,
pretty low. Pretty much, I guess you still have a shot at the triple bye because Michigan State and Illinois still have to play Michigan, and then Nebraska still has a tough little stretch here, so they could maybe sneak in as like the 4 seed. But right now they're on the outside looking in. Matt Painter typically makes the double bye, so I think he may have only missed that once or twice ever since it became a thing. Looking like Purdue might miss the triple bye now, but I guess that means another game for Braden Smith's assist records. Sometimes seems like that's the only thing that matters.
Jake, thanks so much. We will talk again very soon.
Yeah, thank you. Boiler up.
Boiler up. As I mentioned there briefly, Braden Smith's 10 assists Thursday gives him 1,004 for his career, making him the 5th player in NCAA history to accomplish that. He's now 5 assists away from LIU's Jason Brickman for 4th all-time, 26 behind North Carolina's Ed Cota, and 34 behind North Carolina State's Chris Corciani for 2nd all-time on the list. Still a ways to go to catch Bobby Hurley's 1,076. Smith led Purdue's balanced attack with 12 points and, of course, the 10 assists. Jack Bender scored 11 off the bench and kept the Boilermakers in the game in the second half. He might just turn out to be a star. Purdue closes the regular season Sunday with Ohio State in Columbus, then next week at Northwestern, then the regular season finale at home against Wisconsin next Sunday. The Charlotte Hornets got a big win for their playoff aspirations. Pacers fans got a welcome loss, 139-109 in Indianapolis. The Pacers' 5th consecutive loss. They're now 15-45, second worst only to the Sacramento Kings in the league. A game behind the Nets, 2 games behind the Wizards. Can't believe they're actually doing this tanking thing right. All they need to do is finish in the bottom 3 to have the best possible odds for the number 1 pick and a top 4 pick. The Pacers are 0-3 on their current homestand with 21-36 Memphis coming to town on Sunday at 5. Then it's off to LA to face the Clippers and Lakers. Then it's the Blazers, Kings, Suns, and Knicks on a 2-week barnstorming tour of America. The IndyCar season gets underway in just about an hour, 1:30 at St. Petersburg, Florida for the first practice. Please join us for our season preview that we did yesterday and for our recap of the race on Sunday. Also, Elijah Poe will join me on Sunday morning to break down qualifying and preview the race. In high school basketball on Thursday night, it was the 7th straight win for 15-8 Alexandria, 70-63 over Taylor, which also enters the postseason at 15-8. The Titans were led by 20 points from Keyshawn Galloway. Blackford beat Burris 70-36 on senior night to finish the regular season 17-6. Sophomore star Mari Leggett, 29 points off the bench for Blackford. He now is 22 points away from 1,000 as a sophomore. Jay County transfer Eli Petro scored his first points as a Bruin and then just kept doing it, finished with 14. Lapel enters the postseason and Tuesday's matchup with Frankton with a 7-game winning streak after beating sectional rival Tipton 77-60. Trey Page scored 24 and Devin Hamilton 16 in Class 2A number 10 Sheridan's 18th win of the year, 90-37 over Traders Point. New Pal beat Warren Central 59-46. Anderson Prep got its 9th win of the year, beating Southwestern 70-50. University finished off the regular season 15-8 by knocking off Indiana Math and Science 82-49. Faisal Muhammad, 9 for 13 from the field with 23 points. The Blazers made 15 three-pointers in the victory. And Class 3A, number 16, Roncalli throttled number 8, Crispus Attucks, 71-49, behind 24 points from senior Connor Kessler. Kessler was 10 for 13 from the field as the Royals improved to 14-7. And a look ahead to Friday, February 27, 2026. The boys swimming state final prelims begin at 6 o'clock at the IU Natatorium in downtown Indianapolis. The top 16 return Saturday. The top 8 will swim for a state championship. Carmel's going for its 12th consecutive state championship and 26th overall. That is a state record. 4 Oak Hill swimmers will represent the CIC. Freshman Cooper McQuiston, sophomore Braylon Carey, and seniors Cale McCann and Evan Bledsoe. McCann is the 3 seed in the 100 butterfly and seeded 5th in the 50 free. McQuiston is the 7 seed in the 100 free and the 13th in the 200 free, the highest seed of any freshman in both events. Bledsoe is seeded 12th in the breaststroke. And McQuiston, McCann, Bledsoe, and Carey are the 5th seed in the medley relay and in the 200 free relay. Should get some Golden Eagles in the finals on Saturday. Looking ahead to Friday night basketball in Central Indiana, speaking of Oak Hill, the second-ranked Golden Eagles are 20-1 and go to 13-9 Delta. Frankton has lost back-to-back games and hosts 6-13 Blue River Valley. The Eagles are 16-6. 5-16 Madison-Grant goes to 3-17 Daleville. 5-15 Mississinewa is 11-10 Manchester. Mississinewa actually plays again on Friday at home against Purdue Broad Ripple. 4A number 4 Mount Vernon is 21-3. They go to 3A number 16 Yorktown, which is 14-7. Should be a great one. The Marauders looking to end the HHC unbeaten. They've already won the championship. Yorktown's going for its 9th straight win. 10-11 Newcastle's at 10-11 Muncie Central in a battle of former NCC rivals. 13-8 Huntington North is at 16-6 Kokomo. Huntington North used to be in the NCC too. 7-15 Tri-Central's at 3-18 Northfield. 14-8 Eastern travels to Florida to take on 9-12 Carroll. 2-20 Frankfort is at 12-10 Delphi. Class 3A number 12 West Lafayette is at 1A number 6 Rossville. Both teams 18-4. Anderson Prep back tonight. They are now 9-12 and go to Class A number 16 Morristown. 6-14 Cowans at 4-16 Southern Wells. 3A number 11 Jay County goes to Belmont, and 2A number 12 Shenandoah is at Wapahani. And 14-7 Anderson doesn't play on Friday but is at home for its regular season finale Saturday against 12-10 Fort Wayne. The Noblesville Boom return after 5 days off since a 16-point home loss to Capital City. They're in Edinburgh, Texas to take on the Rio Grande Valley Vipers at 7:30. The Boom are right in the middle of the playoff race. The top 6 in the East make the playoffs. Noblesville is currently 5th, 3.5 games out of 1st, and a game and a half out of 7th. The Crossroads Women's semifinals are Friday night in Fort Wayne and Indianapolis. 20-9 Bethel goes to Fort Wayne to face 26-3 and 6th-ranked St. Francis. And 17-12 Indiana Wesleyan will look for an upset against top seed and 4th-ranked Marion in Indianapolis. The championship game is scheduled for Monday. And number 3, Michigan will look to put a cherry on top of its Big Ten championship Friday night at number 10 Illinois in a great game, 8 o'clock on Fox. And number 21, Miami looks to stay unbeaten against Western Michigan at 6. That game is on CBS Sports Network. And of course, the girls' state finals begins 10:30 at the Fieldhouse on Saturday morning in beautiful downtown Indianapolis. It starts with 24-4 and defending Class A champion Borden against 28-2 and third-ranked Fremont. It'd be really hard to find two schools farther apart from each other in Indiana. Borden's closest neighbor, Eastern Pekin, will try to beat Oak Hill for the state championship for the second time in a decade in Game 2, the 2A state championship, the second game of the morning session following Borden and Fremont. Eastern is 20-7, Oak Hill 24-3 and ranked 12th in Class 2A. In the evening, in the 3A championship, it's number 1 Roncalli against number 5 Belmont at 6. Then Belmont's closest neighbor, Norwell, will look to win a 4A championship for the first time after winning the last 2 3A titles. There we go against unbeaten and second-ranked Center Grove in the final game of the year. The Trojans are the only undefeated team in Indiana. Please stay tuned for our Friday conversation with Grant Shouse as he previews all 4 state finals games with his focus on his alma mater, Oak Hill, against the Eastern Musketeers. Grant Shouse joining me on the road somewhere near Kokomo to talk about an Oak Hill Golden Eagles team playing in the state finals this weekend, Grant, that I didn't see it coming at all. And an incredible performance on Saturday.
Pretty unprecedented from Oak Hill. Not a whole lot of people saw this coming. The fight that they showed last Saturday over at Frankfort to beat Whitco was just incredible. They never trailed. They had the lead the entire game from the opening tip to the final buzzer. And girls sacrificed a lot of things, put bodies on the line for their teammates, for their coaches, for their fans. And it was just phenomenal performance. And that was just the first game. And the part about that, and which I think bites a lot of teams over the years, is that that was the second game of the semifinal session. So the game's getting over a little later at about 1:30, 1:45. By the time you get out there and really your body starts to start recovering, it's 2 o'clock and you got a game in 6 hours. And in 4 hours, you're going to have to start getting loose again. I think that bites a lot of teams over the years where they have a miraculous performance in the second game and then don't have as much time to rest as the first team does and come out flat. That was not the case at all with Oak Hill on Saturday. Again, it was one of those performances where they built the lead up. They got up 18. Bremen cut it down to 7 at one point, and Oak Hill just kind of pulled away there down the stretch. And they ended up winning by 9 after they'd won the first game by 8.
And Grant, since I know you're a basketball junkie, I know you know all about Eastern, which I know is just Eastern because I lived down south and covered them at the newspaper. But Eastern Pekin, as you call it, the Musketeers. Grant, what do you know about the Musketeers?
They are a talented team. I mean, they're here for a reason, right? Obviously, you're not going to sleepwalk over any team in the state championship. And I'll just get it out of the way now. I think Oak Hill is a better team from what I've seen from Eastern Pekin. I think I like Oak Hill to win the game Saturday. Again, just throwing it out there pretty quickly here. But Eastern is here for a reason. They rebound the basketball well. They actually will have a rebounding advantage over Oak Hill. Even though Oak Hill has a size advantage, Eastern grabs more rebounds per game than Oak Hill does. They average 28 rebounds a game. Oak Hill averages 25 rebounds a game. Sydney Burton is the name to know for Eastern Pekin. She's about 6 foot, 6'1". Their post presence reminds me a lot of a player they had in 2017 that won the state championship named Taylor Drury, which, fun fact, Taylor Drury is now the head coach of Eastern Pekin. And by the way, these two programs met in 2017 in the 2A title game, where Eastern beat Oak Hill 42-31. It was Oak Hill's third ever trip to the state championship game, and Eastern ended up knocking them off. And Oak Hill will get a crack at revenge. I told Carrie Barkham, the Oak Hill coach, right after the game Saturday, I told her, I said, hey, you're going to play Eastern Pekin. I said, well, that's the team that beat us in 2017. And she looks at me in the first, and this is the only thing she said. First thing came out of her mouth was revenge. So there is revenge on the minds of these Oak Hill players who were early elementary school kids the last time these two teams played each other in the state championship 9 years ago, and they're going to be ready to go Saturday afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, Grant, so you were following along with the game in the South?
Yes, I was down at Greencastle, Eastern Pekin, and Park Heritage. During the day, I was secretly hoping for Eastern Pekin and Heritage Christian to win. First of all, due to the fact that Eastern Pekin and, of course, Oak Hill played 9 years ago in the state championship, like we just mentioned, and Heritage Christian and Oak Hill played in the last game of the regular season just about a month ago or so, and Heritage Christian beat Oak Hill on Oak Hill's home floor to give them their third loss of the year. They won 44-36. And also, it would be a rematch of the 2008 and 2009 2A state championship, where Heritage Christian beat Oak Hill in back-to-back years. The first year at what was then Conseco Fieldhouse, and then the next year, which was the 1 year it was held at Lucas Oil Stadium, where Heritage Christian won on a last-second shot. So there's some storylines, I think, potentially there. Park Heritage wouldn't have been a bad one, considering I think it would have been funny that there could have been a preview of the boys state finals, where Oak Hill boys are probably the best team in the North and Park Heritage boys are probably the best team in the South in 2A. I think it would have been a little ironic if their two girls met in the state championship, but just not the way the basketball bounced on Saturday. So Eastern and Oak Hill is going to be a good game. I think it's the one game that's flying under the radar for people. I think everybody's thinking a lot about the other three games. It should be good games, but don't be shocked if the Oak Hill Eastern game isn't the best game on Saturday down at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
All right. Well, Grant, I was going to ask you for your prediction, but you've already told me Oak Hill, and I agree with you. I think Oak Hill's going to win this game, but I say 60-40 chance Oak Hill.
I think actually that's pretty accurate. Both these teams match up well. Oak Hill has good guards. Oak Hill had the best guard on the floor last week with Landry Hardman, where Landry just took over the game, hit some big threes, distributed the ball well. She just took over for that Oak Hill team on Saturdays. Look for her to have another good game. Look for Brianna Daly and Morgan Cates, the Twin Towers, to also have a big day for them as well. Oh, and by the way, Greg, Oak Hill's in the 2A state championship this year. They return every single main rotation player next season. So look for this to be a consistent thing maybe for Oak Hill in the next couple of seasons.
You think Norwell has a chance against Center Grove?
I think Norwell's going to win the 4A game. I'll go on the record now and say it. I've seen Center Grove. I saw them against Pendleton-Heights, where Pendleton-Heights had the lead going into the fourth quarter of the regional championship, and they just went cold from the field. And Center Grove took advantage of that and ended up winning the game down the stretch. They won their semi-state 29-26 over Lawrence Central, a Lawrence Central team who's got a McDonald's All-American who's going to LSU and the Lampley girl. I think Norwell definitely has a chance. I know Center Grove's 28-0, but I like Norwell to come out and win back-to-back state championships. And by the way, they would be the smallest school ever in the big school division or in single class basketball when it was a thing to win a state championship if they can pull it off Saturday night.
Say you got a pick?
I'll take Indianapolis Roncalli. I thought Belmont in their two sectional games. They did both their sectional games at Mississinewa a few weeks ago, and they're a good team and certainly deserve to be there. I just think Roncalli's got the athletes. They actually won the volleyball state championship this year. You know, a lot of girls were on that volleyball team, so They know how to win. They know how to compete. Belmont is certainly a great volleyball program as well. And both those programs have translated over to girls basketball. And I like Roncalli to win that game by 9 or 10, probably.
And Borden to Fremont, there might not be a longer drive in the entire state between the two schools. I wonder if that's the record of driving distance, maybe not miles, but how long it would take between
that's
two
almost
schools
a
that have ever
5-hour
played.
drive.
Oh my goodness, man. Just getting to Borden is
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a pain in the backside.
luckily they both just
they're
have
meeting halfway.
That's right. Luckily they just have to go to Indianapolis.
That I think is going to be the best game of the day. I think that one can set the tone for the 4 state games on Saturday. Fremont and Borden. Borden won the state championship last year. I like for them to repeat and win the state championship again with Matt Vick, their head coach. Wouldn't be shocked if Fremont won, however. That's going to be a heck of a ball game. And by the way, I wanted to give a shout out here to Kevin Helfrich, my color guy on Action Sports Network. Went to Oak Hill for a majority of his life up until sophomore or junior year of high school. His dad, Rick, took the job to be the athletic director at Fremont and finished and graduated at Fremont High School about 5 minutes from the Michigan state line. And so he'll be there to watch the two schools that he went to in both the 1A and the 2A state championship. We actually talked about that being a possibility last week. And afterwards, when we found out that was going to happen, I called him and I was like, man, like I can't believe that came true. Oh, he goes, I'm going. Got to go now. So thought I'd give him a shout out.
By the way, when I covered Borden for the News and Tribune, they had never won a state championship in anything. And since then, all they do is win state championships. They've won softball, they've won boys basketball, they've won girls basketball, and here they are again.
Yeah, and a chance to do it again. They obviously know what they're doing down there at Borden.
All right, Grant, so are you planning on being there all day?
I'll be there all day from start to finish. I'll roll in about 9:30 to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, pick up my credential at the media will call downstairs, and head in, grab my seat. I try to sit behind the northern representatives bench and the media table they have back behind the benches. Of course, that's where Oak Hill's bench would be, so I try to sit as close to the team as possible. My dad will be there as well, so I'm looking forward to it. All 4 games. I know, of course, people that are coming just for the first 2 games, just for the Oak Hill game, and then I got plenty of friends from Norwell that'll be there for the night game. So I'm looking forward to Saturday. It's one of my favorite days of the year.
Can't wait to hear all about it on this podcast. And Grant and I and Michelle Garman will be previewing the sectionals at Elwood and Eastbrook this week. So join us for that on Tuesday morning at the latest. Grant, thank you so much for your time and have fun on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Greg. I always enjoy it.
Thanks so much to Grant and Jake for joining me, and always eager to talk sports. Thank you so much for listening. Please do us a huge favor and share this podcast with a Central Indiana sports fan in your life and help us spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about every single day. Also, since I have some time before the music ends, our IndyCar season preview came out a little earlier, on Thursday evening, and that was a really good one. We make all of our predictions for the year. We also hope to have a Colts report this weekend after Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen's press conference a little earlier this week. Pretty sure we're going to have a Fever report on Sunday, and I know we're going to have a Pacers report on Monday, an IU report on Tuesday, and a Purdue report with Jake Dunn on Wednesday. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media And I love Susie.